Chapter 4. Making Friends. Just when he was beginning to give up, he heard a growling sound coming out of nowhere. His heart pounded in his chest. "What was that sound?" whispered Sammy to himself, glancing nervously from side to side. "Oh, sorry," said a voice. "We didn't mean to startle you." "Who said that?" Sammy called. "We're over here," called a friendly voice. Sammy turned to the right and saw another house that looked kind of like the one that he just moved into. This boy was a bit bigger than Sammy, and he was wearing a black shirt with a fire flame on the front. He looked like he was about the same age as Sammy, only a little taller. Sammy assumed the big man in the black tank top was his dad. He was standing next to a huge green lawnmower. To Sammy, it looked more like a tractor, but what did he know? He used to live in a high-class condominium. "Hi there," said the boy, coming towards Sammy on the sidewalk. "I'm sorry that my dad's lawnmower scared you." It's okay," said Sammy. "I was just looking around. I've never been here before." "I'm guessing you just moved in?" "Yeah," said Sammy. "When?" "Just today. My mom and dad and my sister and I moved here from New York." "New York?" asked the boy. "Wow, that's a long way from here." "Yeah," said Sammy. "It was a big city, and I lived in a very small place." "Wow," said the boy again. "What was that like?" "Well, it was mostly a place where there were lots of people." "That sounds like a very busy place," said the boy. "It sure is," said Sammy. "What's it like here?" "It's kind of quiet and small. There are not very many people who live here. A lot of people just come here for either a camping trip in the summer or a skiing trip in the winter. You can smell all this fresh air and see the mountains a little better. Sometimes you can even see a whole bunch of stars in the sky at night." "Wow," said Sammy. "I never got to see stars. I'm so excited to see all that." "Oh, you'll like it," said the boy. "By the way, what's your name?" "My name is Samy Kind," said Sammy. "That's interesting," said the boy. "I never met anybody who had Kind for a last name." "Well," said Sammy, "it's what my family and I grew up to be. It's kind of an ancestral family tradition. With a last name called Kind, we always tried to show kindness to a lot of people, just like I'm showing kindness to you. Whatever your name is." "Oh, I'm Flicker Dragon," said the boy. "Now that's interesting too," said Sammy. "I never met anybody with a last name like Dragon." "Well," said Flicker, "dragons are my favorite thing in stories, probably because of my name. When I was a preschooler, I used to like to watch that show where two kids magically travel to a land of friendly dragons, and they learn the importance of friendship." "Really?" asked Sammy. "I might want to watch that sometime. And speaking of friendship—" Sammy paused and shrugged his shoulders. "I want to be your friend. Is that all right?" "Yeah," said Flicker. "I would like to be your friend too." "Great. Well, I think I better go now. I sort of want to see the rest of the circle." "Okay. See you soon, Sammy Kind," said Flicker with a wave. "You too, Flicker Dragon," said Sammy, holding his hand up. "See you later." "See you later." Sammy started walking further down the circle to see if there were any more kids living nearby. Right next door to Flicker's house, he saw another boy who was about his same size. The only differences were that he had spiky red hair, a thin yellow t-shirt, and a very nasty look on his face. He was digging in the dirt near a large pole with what looked like a man attached to it. Sammy cringed until he realized that he was actually looking at a scarecrow. The boy was not just digging, he was planting seeds. Probably corn, Sammy thought to himself. Hi there, called Sammy to the boy. The boy looked towards him with a little bit of a frown on his face. Who are you? He asked in a grumpy tone. I'm Samy Kind, said Sammy. That's a weird name, replied the boy nastily. What's your name? Asked Sammy. I'm not telling you, sneered the boy. I never thought there would be anybody with a last name like that. What are you, some kind of nice kid? The boy turned rudely back to his digging. I just moved here, said Sammy. I already met Flicker, who lives next door to you. Are you talking about that fat boy? The boy demanded. He clenched his fist like he might want to hit someone. Are you okay, man? Asked Sammy. Don't call me a man, Sammy Blind, shouted the boy. My last name is Kind, Sammy reminded him. I don't care, yelled the boy. Why don't you just go back to where you belong and stop bothering me? Don't you want to be friends? Asked Sammy, a little sadly. No, said the boy angrily. I already have a friend. I have the Scarecrow for a friend, and he can scare off anybody who gets near me. Nobody can come near Spike's Scarecrow. Oh, so that's your name? Asked Sammy. Spike? Dang it, said the boy. Go away, you four-eyed loser. Okay, said Sammy quietly. Have fun, Spike, he called as he started walking away. Oh, I will have fun by scaring you away, called Spike rudely. As Sammy was walking quickly away from Spike's house, he noticed another house where a boy was watching the conversation he had with Spike. This boy was wearing a dirty green t-shirt and brown shorts. He had black hair that looked kind of like Flicker's, but his skin was much darker. He was working next to a woman in overalls. They were pulling weeds from a huge garden next to their house. Hello, called Sammy. The boy and woman turned around and saw Sammy. Oh, hi, young man, said the woman with a smile. What's your name? My name is Samy Kind, said Sammy proudly. Wow, said the woman. That's a cool name. Thanks, said Sammy. You're welcome, said the woman. I'm Mrs. Garden, and this is my son Parker. She turned to the boy. Say hi, Parker. What's up, Sammy? Asked Parker. Are you new in town? Yeah, said Sammy. When did you get here? Asked Parker. Today, said Sammy. Today, huh? Asked Mrs. Garden, brushing the dirt from her hands onto her pants. Where are you from? I used to live in New York, said Sammy proudly. Wow, said Parker. What was that like? Big, answered Sammy, and they all laughed. They talked a bit longer before Sammy started to get worried. It was already sunset, and he wasn't quite sure where he came from or which way he should go to get back to his new home. Are you lost? Asked Mrs. Garden. I think I am, said Sammy anxiously. It's okay, said Mrs. Garden. We've lived in this neighborhood for a long time. Parker can show you your way back to your new home. Thanks, said Sammy. It was nice meeting you, Mrs. Garden. It was nice meeting you too, Sammy, said Mrs. Garden with a wide smile. I'll be back soon, Mom, said Parker, as he and Sammy started to walk back toward Sammy's house. What is in your garden? Asked Sammy curiously. We plant all kinds of stuff, said Parker excitedly. We never buy our vegetables at the store. We plant beans and tomatoes, peppers and onions, corn and lettuce. You know, everything. Parker talked on and on about his vegetable garden. It was starting to get dark, but Parker knew just where to go. You really are a nice guy, Sammy, said Parker. Thanks, said Sammy. So are you. Would it be cool if I called you my friend? Sure, said Parker. That would be cool. Do you know Flicker and Spike? Asked Sammy. Yeah, said Parker. Flicker is really great, but Spike is kind of a jerk. You shouldn't try to be friends with him. Why not? Asked Sammy. Because he has a front yard scarecrow and even little scarecrow dolls. Scarecrow dolls? Asked Sammy. I never heard of scarecrow dolls. Do kids play with them? Not usually, said Parker. Sometimes in the fall for decorations, but Spike plays with scarecrows all year long. But what does a scarecrow have to do with him being mean? Asked Sammy. I thought scarecrows were used to scare birds. He doesn't just use them to scare birds, said Parker darkly. He also uses them to scare kids who walk by. Have you ever tried to stand up to Spike? Asked Sammy. No one ever has, said Parker sadly. He just says he's not afraid of anything. He always says mean things to other kids. Just like he did when I stopped by to look around? Guessed Sammy. Right, said Parker. You can try to be friends with him all you want, but he will just be mean to you. I'll have to think about that, said Sammy. But I want to try to show kindness to people, even if some aren't kind to me. That's why I'm Samy Kind. Yes, you are, said someone. Sammy and Parker looked around and saw that it was Jimmy coming to find them. Hi, Dad, said Sammy. Hi, son, said Jimmy. Your mother and I have been waiting for you, and I see that you've made a friend. You must be Mr. Kind, said Parker. Yes, I am, said Jimmy, reaching out to shake Parker's hand. Dad, said Sammy, this is Parker Garden. He was just showing my way back home. Sammy grinned at Parker. We are friends now. Parker grinned back, and Sammy noticed he was missing one of his front teeth. Thanks for helping my son get back home, said Jimmy. You're welcome, Mr. Kind, said Parker. Well, I better get going. I'll see you later, Parker, said Sammy. Okay, Sammy, said Parker, taking off toward his own home at a slow jog. See ya, he called over his shoulder. Jimmy and Sammy turned to go into the house. It sure has been a good end to a long car trip, thought Sammy. I even had a chance to make new friends on my first day here. But I don't know about this Spike Scarecrow guy. He was kind of being a bully to me. Sammy scratched his head thoughtfully. I still need some time to think about it. Sammy and Jimmy stepped through the door into their new home, and Sammy only thought about the delicious smell of Chinese takeout and his rumbling tummy.